So what the heck is going on with cyber insurance? If you're a business owner or a company, you may be seeing this come up more in contracts that are required. Maybe you're seeing it more in licensing and regulations that you have to get cyber insurance. And you might think, well, gee, I thought I already had insurance. Well, some commercial policies, general liability, professional liability, E&O policies, may have some endorsement for some type of cyber, but there's a lot of things about cyber insurance that are different from regular insurance. It may not cover third parties. It may have a small limit of, let's say, 50,000. So you want to make sure that if a contract you're doing business with requires cyber insurance, that you know the ins and outs of it. So how big of a deal is it? Well, the cyber insurance market is going to exceed 17 billion just in a few years. 3 or 4 years ago, it was barely a couple billion. It's dramatically increased. What about premiums? How much does it cost? Well, the premiums are actually stabilizing, right? The prices of policies are starting to come down because the insurers are now starting to get some experience with these cyber events and cyber policies. More importantly, they're able to step in and prevent these claims from happening in the first place. The biggest value to a cyber policy is that insurer, more than likely, is going to put some type of monitoring on your network to see if there's any intrusions, because most cyber attacks happen days, weeks, sometimes months after the original intrusion. So make sure if you're looking at cyber policies, you get one that has this kind of active monitoring. Maybe you don't want it. It'll be a little cheaper if you don't have that, but just make sure that you're selecting appropriately what you want or what you don't want. Look at the policy. Don't go by what you think it has. Look at the policy to make sure that it has the coverage that you want and has that monitoring. That's worth its weight in gold. A lot of these claims wouldn't even happen if the insured had this policy. We just saw a big case where MGM in Las Vegas was hacked, and they had thousands and thousands of hotel rooms they couldn't rent out. They had to shut down their casino because of a cyber attack. What else is going on? Well, companies are now starting to budget for cyber premiums. And this talks about rising cyber premiums. It's more that you're having to budget to add it to your existing policy. Most insurance policies now may have a small cyber endorsement of 50,000, 100,000, but the average cyber attack is closer to $1 million. So you want to make sure you have those kind of coverages. Also, be aware of what's not covered. In what situations would your cyber coverage be void? Now, these vary by insurance companies, so make sure you look at your policy to know what's covered. If you have lack of security protocols in place, look, when your cyber insurer does the underwriting for your policy, they're going to check to make sure you have certain protocols. Two-factor authentication, passwords, limited access to a server room, those kind of things. And some of them take your word for, some of them you have to prove, but just make sure you have those in place. Internal bad actor, what that means is that if the hacker is one of your employees, there may not be coverage. You might need a separate crime policy for that. Human error, if you lose a cell phone or a laptop and don't immediately take action, that may not be covered. Also keep in mind, if you have any kind of cyber intrusion, call your insurance company right away, because they may still cover your event if you don't call them right away, but any expenses that happen before you call them, once you know, might not be covered. And more importantly, they probably have a incident response team available, so as soon as you contact them, they can step in and do some of the work that maybe your IT team would do. Acts of war, usually not covered. That's if some foreign government does this hacking, may not be covered. If you do not follow compliance procedures, that's what we talked about. They're going to tell you certain things that are best practices. Maybe once a month you have to do some type of detection. Maybe on a regular basis you have to do training. You want to make sure you do that. Terrorism, normally not covered. Here you go. Not reporting to insurance company first. You want to make sure you do that reporting so that you have coverage, but also you have coverage for all of the things that are expenses that happen before you contact them. So these are things to look at on your policies. If you do have more questions about cyber, even just a consultation, check out our website, riskcoverage.com. You see the link below. We'd be glad to be of assistance. It's a new world of hacks. It's also new opportunity for coverages that may not have been available previously.